I had a pretty tough time picking out what to tear down this week. There are a lot of bad engines here. I could have picked one of the many BMW Hot V twin turbo V8s that are here. I've got 4 out of the car and 1 in the car. Note to self or anybody else, don't buy an early N63. Just save yourself the hassle. I also have a BMW M62 V8. I've got a Land Rover LR3 V8. I've got a Porsche Cayenne engine, a Porsche 928 engine, and plenty of 5.3s I could have torn down. Those are all pretty cool, and we'll get there. But I wanted something different, outside of the box. So I have a motorcycle engine here, and transmission's part of it. It's right there, left clutch area. I don't know what I'm working on here. I mean, I do know it's a Victory Freedom V-twin. It's a 106 cubic inch engine, and it's a Polaris engine, I guess. This Polaris is Victory, and it's broken. It's not blown up. I mean, there might be some damage inside, but it's from a very wrecked motorcycle, and it came courtesy of another local yard of Route 3 Auto Salvage. Thanks, Mike. And I've never worked on a motorcycle engine ever, so this will be a first. So this is an overhead cam V twin. I don't know what degree V it is. Room temperature. All right, all jokes aside, this makes about 92 horsepower and a little over 100 foot-pounds of torque, which is pretty good for this. This is very compact, but most motorcycle engines are. I don't even know where to start, but I'll show you the damage. The head is broken here, and I don't know if there's like something to mount the engine here, or maybe it's just the broken cooling fins because it's air-cooled, and it's got a broken crankcase here. So not really a repairable thing or something I'd feel comfortable repairing, but still plenty of good parts that are apparently really hard to find. This engine did spend some time in the outdoors, so there's going to be signs of moisture and rust in the engine, cylinder walls, tops of valves, hopefully not in the crankcase. But I still have to be extra careful taking this thing apart because A, I don't know what I'm doing, and B, it seems that everything that isn't broken has some sort of value. I didn't even see half of the parts listed on eBay. Apparently they're tough to find. Regardless, I only have one major concern with taking this thing apart, and that is that nut. That is a big nut, and I'm worried that I can't get it off. Don't. Come on. Well, of course, there's one place we start, and that is the plugs. Well, the plugs look okay, but there's definitely some rust on that one. And it's wet rust. What do you call wet rust? I think it's just water. So we're going to find some rust inside this engine. I suppose we'll start here and pull the rear valve cover off. Yes, that's what we're going to do. There we go. Oh, that's kind of neat. So this is pretty neat. There's your timing chain. Got your camshaft here, and it's interesting as a camshaft for one cylinder. So we haven't seen that on the channel except for the Dodge Ram that made it that way. And yeah, I don't see any damage or anything in here, and it doesn't look like any moisture was in this part of the engine. Onto the front. You know what? This is taking entirely too long. This also looks pretty clean. No signs of moisture in there either. All right, next I'm going to remove, I guess this is a crankcase cover or timing cover. The timing chain is on this side of the engine. The tensioners are here. I'm going to take this out because I want to see how this is going to come apart. For crying out loud, the dipstick. What the? Do I just pull on it? Wow. Even a motorcycle engine. I don't know what to do. Can we get it off this way? Ah. Well, it's dry. Inside the timing cover, you can see our trigger wheel here. It's got a crank sensor mounted to the actual timing cover. We've got 2 chains. They're ganging up on the crankshaft here. I'm not quite sure how we're going to turn the crank over. I guess by this. Is that safe? I might. Yeah, we might try that. I don't want to break that bolt off. Nope, don't want to go backwards. Is that reverse thread? Kind of feels like it. Nope. All right, so this is dangerous. Oh, it's Loctited in, I think. Yeah. So we're not going to be able to turn the crank over by that. I'm glad I didn't go the wrong direction. And I'm not quite sure what to do next. Well, this chain tensioner is going to be a lot easier than that one. I'm going to have to use a wrench on that. This one will be... I shouldn't have said anything. It's fine, don't look now. Now I'm also concerned with the length that this tensioner is. We may have to pull this cylinder head. Maybe. We're going to find out, aren't we? No problem. Okay, so that didn't really do much for me. I see. What I think I'm going to have to do next is remove the bolts from the cam gears. I think we're going to have to, there's just an 8mm here. Oh, I hope I don't drop this. There's one bolt. Oh, that one's going to be a lot of fun. We're getting there. Come on. Okay, that bolt's out. And what the... Does the chain not come off of this cam gear? Oh, yes, it does. There's the cam gear. At least from the rear. Nope. Yep, front cylinder head. I don't know what I'm looking at. You know what? I'm going to do the other one first. That's less than ideal. Got a thinner wrench this time. That still had a little bit of tension on it. And I was able to get that out with the bolt in it. Before we start pulling the heads loose, I need to get some of the stuff that's shared between them. I guess there's some fuel injection hardware. That's the idle air control right here. Now we have fuel lines. How do they come off of the rails? Ah, I see how we can do this. Somewhat easy. So first we'll remove the ignition coil and bracket. Okay, so there's 2 bolts here to hold the fuel rail down, and we're going to hopefully be able to slide them off of the top of the injectors. We got these clips. The injectors actually might just come out of the cylinder head. That would be nice. Let's see if old Blue will help us here. Okay, apparently the injectors want to stay in the head, which is okay. We'll just make this side easy. I said make this side easy. Come on.
Wow.
Okay, fuel rail's off. So there's 2 different size head bolts here. There's the smaller ones that hold the outside here, and then there's the 4 bolts that surround the combustion chamber. So I think we're going to start with the small ones first. And hopefully I can crack these loose without turning the engine too much. Now for the bigger bolts, and this might be a little challenging. We're just going to pretend that didn't happen, and I'm going to have to find some other way. I guess I could use an impact, but man, that just doesn't feel right. Oh, we cracked one loose. So see if this will just lift right off. Am I missing something? Oh, I see. Pull the cam out of the head, the valve train, drop it, that's fine. Okay, come on. And no. Let's give it a little help. All right. So here's the head gasket. Check out that damaged dowel. That's likely from the accident because that cylinder head has damage in that same area. Head looks pretty decent. Not a lot of signs of moisture in here. Not a lot of carbon. That's what the inside of the head looks like. This is pretty awesome. Man, if cars were so simple, you could just remove a single cylinder's head. Here's the valve train with the cam in it. I am not going to be pulling this apart. It's going to stay together just like so. Now I think we can remove the cylinder bore. I think this is called a melon. No, they're jugs, not melons. I think they just come off, right? You just give them a little help and they just pop right on off. At least I think so. Yeah. That's it. At least I think that's it. And we're stuck. I guess we should probably take this a little further apart. All right, again, we're going to start with the outside bolts first. When I say bolts, I mean nuts, okay? Nuts. Okay, now pull the valve train and the cam out. Now we should be able to lift the head up. Well, got some chain in the way here. Okay. There is the rear head. Ooh, that let some water in. Here's the other cylinder head, the rear. And you can definitely tell this thing sat with the valves open and on its side. It's got lots of rust and it'll probably clean up. So you can definitely see some rust at the top of the bore here. I don't know if we can get this chain out enough to get anything else apart. But one thing I did notice is this is coming apart here. And I'll come off of there. Head gasket is off. All right, I'm not going to try to remove this jug yet. We're going to start pulling the crankcase apart. Now we're going to try to get this trigger wheel off. Woo! My feet slowed that crash down. So there's a whole bunch of stuff in here. We're going to just take all the bolts out and see what falls off. And there's one chain rail. Nope, we're not throwing that one. Probably could though. So lower. Now look at that chain. It's a pretty interesting looking chain. The outside links, they kind of like encapsulate the cam gears. I don't know what the terminology is for this, but most chains don't look like that. Another rail, looks good. Nope. Kidding. Another one. Another beautiful chain. Yeah, there we go. All the rails are out. I'm going to take a minute, clean all this stuff up, and flip this thing around. Now we can take this cover off. Okay, so is this going to puke a bunch of stuff on me? Or is it even going to come off? I don't really want to pry on this. I don't know what I'm doing. Obviously, I am not doing something right. I think it has to do with this. This is part of the where the transmission shifts. Here, this is the clutch. Oh, there's stuff in there. That's reassuring. Oh, there we go. That. Parts. Wow, that's pretty cool. So here's your stator. I know that much. I know a little bit. So inside your cover here, you got your stator. This is like your alternator, generator, charging device. And then here's your clutch and other stuff. We're going to have to get all this apart, I guess. This is where the shifter moves everything. It's right here. I can't actuate that by doing anything, so I'm not quite sure what the next step is. We can just start taking things apart. Yep, that's what we're going to do. Let's zip this little cover off. This cover is damaged here. Yeah, now we're getting somewhere. Oh, there's a ball bearing. A bunch of gears and stuff. I guess this is for the starter. Yeah, that's what that's for. That's the starter right here. And when I took that out, it just fell apart. Let's see if we can get this off. Those are apparently tight. It's because I'm using my backup impact today. It's not quite as strong. There's bolts on the bottom. How am I going to get to those? This is how. Okay, oh wow. Starter's ruined. So the front of that starter housing, that's from the impact. That's a pretty good hit. It's damaging stuff like this. Now we can get a better look at the damage on the crankcase. Oh, see right through it. All right, first thing I'm going to try to do is remove this clutch. I have the crappiest snap ring pliers known to man. So this might not work too good. Man, these are about as useful as a wet cardboard box. Alright, I think I'm starting to get it here. Yeah, this will get her off. Yeah. And then there's a big nut behind there. Hope we can get that nut off. Nope. Shouldn't have said it that way. 2 big nuts to take off in this 15 millimeter bolt. We're going to start here. We'll just go across and see what happens. Oh, we're shooting stuff apart. Oh, stuff's coming apart. We'll look at that in a minute. Well, that's a pretty massive piece. I'm not taking this apart. Sorry, guys. That's the clutch. Hopefully I don't need a puller for this, but I feel like I need a puller for this. A last-ditch effort to get this flywheel off. So I don't have the bolt that you use to thread into the center, pushes it off the crank. I use, not Old Blue here, but I used, ooh, that's hot. It's very tapered. I'll show you what I used. I used this. This did a really good job of getting that off. And I'm actually going to pull the rest of this apart, laying on its side. So this should just come right off. So this messes with this. And as you would expect, there is some wear on this. whatever this piece is called. I don't know. I don't know what I'm looking at. Oh boy, another snap ring. And then there's this. Now this clip, I can get that off. I have the tools for that. Just like so. So this is the starter gear. I don't really know how any of this comes apart. Yep, that's just going to stay like that. And then this giant snap ring. Yep, that's going to be fun. The opposite this time. Oh, we can do this. Yeah, we got this. Oh no. So there's springs that sit in here. Let's see if we can get this. All right. Parts are coming out. What are they? I don't know. So there's the wear, and as you can see, it's like all on the same side of these ramps. It could be from normal driving or maybe riding it a little aggressively. I don't know. Springs sit in here. I don't know if I was supposed to take that apart, but you know what? They came apart. Now I'm just going to start zipping these 10mm headed bolts out, and we'll see what happens. Oh, that's funny. This impact doesn't have the oomph. Every time I loosen one of these bolts, it at me. I don't know what that's about. A lot less bolts on it. Oh, I think I can get these off. I don't see how that's going to happen. I don't think the piston can come all the way out of the bore, can it? And this is obviously not going to, it has to come apart. Unless it doesn't go far enough to get the wrist pins out. I don't know. Oh, here we go. Look at that. Nope. Nope. There we go. That's pretty awesome. What cool parts. Even if these aren't any good, these are cool. Okay, so now. Oh, that piston's just flopping all wet and noodly like. Ooh, that's neat. I think this is just stuck at the bottom of the bore. I really don't want to go beating on the piston. I don't know what that was. Oh, it's one of the cooling fins that must have been cracked. Just got to get that piston down in. I don't know if I've moved it. I think I moved it. Oh, look at that. The crankcase is starting to split. That's good, I think. I don't know if that's working or not. Usually this would start moving something if it needed to. But this is not moving anything. I guess I'm going to take the studs out. I think that's what I'm going to do. So now we're going to get the studs out, which is just going to take a little bit. We're going to take two of the nuts that held the cylinder heads on, and we're going to lock them together as tight as we can. And then I put my wrench here, and it'll jam them up on the threads, and they should come out pretty easily. That's much easier. This doesn't want to come out of this thing. Neither does this one. This one has a dowel stuck on it. It must have come out, or it looks like it's got damaged in the accident. So now I just have these two. We'll get these two out, and that should give us some more room to work with, and we should be able to split this crankcase open. All right. Now we can see what's going on here. Nope, we can't. Nope, that helped us kind of. Let's see if we can split this crankcase, see what happens. I don't know that this is going to come apart or not, but we're going to try. Okay, we're going to get whatever this is. I'm not quite sure what this does. Maybe like an ignition module or a voltage regulator. Just making stuff up now. That was definitely holding those case halves together, though. I don't think this is going to do it, but I'm going to take this nut off. If that does it, I'll be shocked. That did it. No way. Or it did something. Do I have to take these off? Does that hold anything? Are there any bolts in here? I don't really know what else to take out. I guess I could take those Torx out. I just don't think that's it. Let's see if this does anything. Oh, there's a spring. I guess I could have done it. If that's it, I'm going to laugh. I'm probably going to laugh either way. That was it. That's the shifter, part of the shifter, I guess. Try to get you guys a good vantage point. Little gears and stuff. Okay. There's transmission, like the actual transmission. Pull this aside. This is pretty cool in here. There's an oil pump, counterbalance, and there's the crankshaft, which is pretty giant for, one journal. Can I just force this chain off? Maybe. Yeah. That's cool. It's just like a belt. You just roll it on, I guess. Well, it's kind of messy in here. Oh, there's a shift fork. Will this fall over? Nope. Okay, so I'm not quite sure how all of this comes out. This is what shifts it. This is, you rotate this. This is what that flower-looking gear was on. This will probably just come right off. And then, a snap ring. Nope, we're probably going to leave that. So that shifter rotates. Pulls it in one gear and out of another. Moves these tiny little forks. And when I say tiny, it's just, it's sized correctly, I think. I'm not quite sure how this is going to come out of here. We're just going to see. Oh, it's got that big gear on it, so I don't think this is not going to really come off with that big gear. And I do not have a socket for that here. There's no way I have that. So I think this is just going to stay the way it is for today. That's still really neat. So here's the engine side of this. Here's that massive crank. Now I can get this apart. What are they? 10 millimeters. Really long rods. This is all pretty big stuff here. I don't think. Ooh, that might come out that way. Yeah, there we go. That's a cool piece. Let's pull this oil pump out of here. Yeah. Pickup looks... Uh-oh. There's some RTV in the pickup. Wasn't a lot. Let's see, will this come apart? There's like one tool that I think would be perfect. Totally unnecessary. There's the oil pump. It's a little chewed up. Oh, it's got like a secondary in it. I wonder what that's for. I'm sure someone knows. I haven't seen that before. I think that's it. I think this is as far as we're going to get this one apart. That's still pretty cool. Now, rods and pistons. There we are. Okay. Oh. Whoa. That was almost bad. Would have ruined some bad parts.
Oh yeah, we can do this.
I can pull this up, slide this over here. Okay. Well, we got one rod and piston out completely, and one that's stuck in the jug. So the bearings don't really look bad. A little bit of wear, but it's really fine. This piston and rod looks pretty good. There's not a lot of skirt wear. I don't see any cracked ring lands. The rings look good. I don't know if this is worth anything. This one is jammed in the bore. This is coming out one way or the other, and I think this is distorted from the accident. Look at that dowel that goes between the jug and the case half, and it's distorted and bent, and that takes a lot of force. All right, we're gonna try to pull the rod and piston out of the top. I have no idea if... Oh yeah. Ooh boy. Okay. Well, it's got some pretty bad wear. Wow, what is that? It's broken. This is cracked. That's pretty insane. I didn't think there was going to be any carnage. I thought it was just going to be broken on the outside. So if you look, this side, not really a lot of wear. Not terrible. There's just some dirt and stuff on here. But when you get to the other side, that's the front. Look at the deep grooves. That piston's wrecked. And the reason for that is look at the bottom of that jug. I think that's what it's called. I could be totally wrong. It's cracked. It broke this piece from the accident. That must have been a really hard hit. And then if you look on the inside, you can see a little ridge. And that's why the piston would not come out of the bottom of this. That's why I had to pull it apart the way I did. Some deep grooves there. You can see the crack pretty much everywhere on the front side of this. Here's what the inside of the stripped down crankcase looks like. I think it's okay. The journal looks nice. I don't see any damage. Obviously stuff like this, especially after a massive accident, should get checked. I do have quite a few good pieces though. I'll be curious to see how this stuff sells. That was an entirely new experience for me. I've never done anything like that before. It was really cool to see how that was put together, and it was incredibly challenging to take apart, if I'm being honest. I had to look up a lot of things and figure things out, but it all came apart. Well, most of the way came apart. Plus, I didn't bank on the fact that there were external damage would actually be internal damage. I didn't think about one of the cylinders being hit in the accident and cracking the bore, damaging a piston. That was a nice bonus at the end. I know, bad parts, I should be mad, but I kind of like seeing the carnage, just like you guys do. This isn't something I normally run across. Motorcycles are typically better taken care of than cars, because for most, it's just a hobby and not a regular mode of transportation, and they usually don't get neglected. So there may not be an engine on the channel like this in the future ever. Maybe, I can't say never, but it's not something I normally run across. This channel isn't called I Do Motorcycles or I Do Bikes, it's I Do Cars, and I guess you can add trucks to the end of that. Speaking of trucks, I know there's no bed. Don't argue about that. I've had a lot of questions on this thing every time it's in the video, and maybe I should do a video on it. I don't know, would that be boring? Because there's really nothing to fix on it. Okay, that's a lie. It's a General Motors product. Regardless, there's not much to fix on this truck, SUV, and I'd like to answer some of the questions. So you might see a video on this thing. I might take it to the track because it's not stock. It's not that crazy. Don't think that. But it might get that crazy in the future. We'll see. I've had this truck for 6 years, and I just drive it. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you'd like to buy parts off of this engine or any of the other engines I've torn down, I'm going to leave our email in the video description, and you can always check out Importapart.com. It's a little rough around the edges, but most of our parts are listed there. As always, I love all the comments, all the feedback, and even the criticism. I love it all, and I'll catch you on the next one.